5,000 years ago, on the island of Malta, builders carved a chamber from solid rock. They shaped its dimensions with such precision that the room sang back at exactly 111 hertz, a frequency that modern neuroscience has shown reduces activity in the fear center of the brain, a frequency that induces calm, clarity, and healing. These builders understood what we have forgotten. Architecture is a technology for healing through resonance. In Egypt, the king's chamber was built from rose granite, chosen for its density, its hardness, and its ability to reflect and amplify sound. Its dimensions produce a resonant frequency of 117 hertz. Researchers from Oxford have documented this across temples throughout Egypt. These chambers were not tombs. They were healing instruments carved from stone. In India, the architects of the Vijaya Vitala temple carved pillars that produce musical notes when struck, by design. The Brihadiswarar temple was built entirely from granite so that prayers could be heard perfectly from one end to the other. The Jagannath temple has bells tuned to match the alpha waves of the human brain. The temple was a neuroacoustic instrument. And in Europe, the Gothic cathedrals, Notre Dame, Amiens, Chartres, spaces with reverberation times of 8 to 12 seconds. Spaces so acoustically rich that standing inside them changes your brain waves. Research has documented that these spaces foster neurogenesis, the growth of new neurons. They reduce cortisol. They promote brainwave entrainment. You do not need to believe in God necessarily to be healed by a cathedral. You only need to enter it. The architecture does the work. The resonance does the work. The space itself is the healer. And now, look what we have built. The Manhattan Institute has called data centers digital cathedrals. They note that the world's largest data center has twice the square footage of the Burj Khalifa. That data centers collectively consume 30 times more electricity than all the electric vehicles in the world. But they also note something else. These cathedrals are invisible, hidden behind fences, buried in industrial parks, disconnected from the communities they serve. We have built the largest architectural project in human history, and we have forgotten the most important lesson of the builders who came before us. The building itself must heal. The Great Pyramid was built with a capstone, a pyramidion of gold catching the first light of dawn. But over time, the capstone was forgotten. The connection between the highest and the lowest was obscured, and the world has been trying to build from the base ever since, stacking stone upon stone without knowing what the structure is even for. I am proposing that we remember the capstone. The capstone is not the top. The capstone is the source. It receives from the Most High, from the principle of benevolent resonance, and distributes downward. The leader does not climb to the capstone. The leader stands beneath it, receiving its light and passing it on. This is servant-based leadership, the strength to hold abundance without hoarding it, the courage to receive power and give it away, the wisdom to understand that the pyramid is not a machine for extraction, it is an instrument for distribution. I am not proposing that we worship data centers. I am proposing that we become stewards of them. The ancient builders were stewards of stone. They shaped it, tuned it, and entrusted it to the community. The cathedral was not owned, it was held. It was a commons, a shared instrument for collective healing. The data center can be the same, not a temple for worship, but a stewarded instrument for healing. A building that computes, yes, but also resonates. A building that stores our memory, yes, but also repairs the water, grows the plants, and improves the air around it. That is the lineage I am inviting you to join. From the hypogeum to the king's chamber to the Gothic nave to the server rack, 5,000 years of resonant architecture, and the next chapter is ours to compose. There are 8,000 data centers on Earth. They are the new cathedrals, temples of glass and light where we store our collective consciousness. But every cathedral has a cost, and ours is paid in water. A single data center can consume over 1 million gallons of water every day, and that water is not just used, it is stressed, heated, disrupted. The water remembers. It carries the imprint of the chaos around it. And what about the frequencies we cannot see? Every server hums, every fan spins, every power supply vibrates. We have treated all of these as waste, as noise. But I am a musician, and I do not hear noise. I hear a voice that has not yet learned to sing. I want to show you something. Look at these crystals. This is water exposed to the word love. And this, hate. A child can see the difference. Love creates beauty. Hatred creates chaos. And this is cymatics. Sound creating structure in sand. A pure tone creates a mandala. Chaos scatters the sand. The universe is a song, and we are choosing the wrong notes. Water is not just H2O, it is a liquid computer, a molecular orchestra. It responds to vibration. It responds to intention. It responds to the consciousness that surrounds it. What if the frequencies of our data centers are not just noise, but interference? What if they are disrupting the natural harmonic structure of water? And what if the opposite is also true? This is my hypothesis. I call it the Acareo loop. Step 1. We acknowledge that data centers are not just compute infrastructure. They are acoustic and electromagnetic ecosystems. Step 2. We design those ecosystems intentionally. We compose cooling frequencies. We align power supply hums with natural resonant frequencies of water, not as an afterthought, as a primary design parameter. Step 3. We create closed-loop systems where the water is not just cooled and returned, but structurally supported by the harmonic environment of the facility. Step 4. We measure, not just in watts and gallons, but in the quality of the water, in the health of the surrounding land, and in the acoustic ecology of the landscape. This is not a product. It is a design philosophy. I call it Acareo. The birthplace of rhythm understood what we are now remembering, that many frequencies can coexist in harmony. That composition is stronger than control. Imagine a data center that is not a fortress but a living composition, where musicians collaborate with acoustic engineers, where the cooling hum is tuned to support the natural frequencies of the water it touches, where the water that leaves is more alive than the water that entered. Imagine a data center that gives back more than it takes, not in carbon credits, but in resonance, in harmony, in life. I am not here to sell a product. I am here to invite you into a composition. To the engineers, I invite you to prototype, to build the first harmonic server rack, to measure what happens when we tune a data center's frequency profile. To the musicians and artists, I invite you to compose, to think of infrastructure as instrument, to bring the wisdom of harmony into the design of technology. To the investors and policymakers, I invite you to fund the first Acareo facility, not as charity, but as an expression of a new paradigm, a bet that the future belongs not to those who extract the most, but to those who resonate the truest. Courage and conviction. Courage is not the absence of doubt, it is the decision to play the note anyway. Even when the orchestra is out of tune, even when the audience is silent, even when you are not sure if the music will carry. Conviction is not stubbornness, it is the deep knowing that harmony is the fundamental structure of the universe. From the orbits of the planets to the spin of electrons to the beating of your heart, everything that persists in resonance. We have built a digital civilization on dissonance, on extraction, on profit and noise. It is time to tune. It is time to compose a world where the hum of our servers sings in harmony with the rivers, the oceans, and the rain that falls on every roof. It is time for Acareo. All parameters on, all composed. all for life in abundance. Thank you.